Hi everyone. In this video, I'll be going over clinical point-of-care tools. I'll briefly talk about what they are and why you want to use them, and then we'll dive in, start comparing them, and I'll show you what each one looks like in practice. So, what are point-of-care tools? Point-of-care tools are clinical search engines designed to help busy clinicians use the best available evidence in their patient care. Evidence-based practice is incredibly important and quickly becoming the standard in patient care. But I understand that, as busy healthcare professionals, you may not always have the time to go searching for evidence on your own. Clinical point-of-care tools do this work for you, searching through the literature and synthesizing it into clinical practice guidelines that follow the most current evidence. These tools are incredibly useful for enabling evidence-based practice in clinical settings. The first two tools we'll be talking about are UpToDate and Dynamed. UpToDate and Dynamed are the two most popular point-of-care apps, and are most likely the ones you may already be familiar with. Both are designed to provide all the essential information needed to make informed clinical decisions, and both are aimed at healthcare professionals practicing in a wide variety of settings. There are, however, slight differences between them, which we will discuss as we go along. First, let's take a look at UpToDate. You can get to UpToDate by using the UpToDate tab on the library homepage, going through our databases list, or installing the app on your phone. On the UpToDate page, you will see the primary feature is a large search bar. UpToDate works more like Google than an academic database, so all you have to do is put in the name of the condition, disease, or treatment you want to know about. Let's search for diabetes as an example. In the search results, you can see that a variety of articles come up covering aspects of diabetes, including diagnosis, management, prevention, as well as more specialized topics. If we click on an article, you can see how UpToDate structures its information. The left-hand side has an outline of the topics in the article, so you can skip straight to what you need. For example, if you need a reminder about how to diagnose diabetes in a clinical setting, you can click on Differential Diagnosis and go straight to the information you need. UpToDate will typically contain information about diagnosis, prevention, etiology, management, and treatment of conditions, often for different populations. To find what you are looking for, put in any relevant keywords such as disease, population, and the type of information needed. UpToDate also contains a variety of other tools that may be of use. These include clinical calculators, drug interaction information, and patient education materials. In addition, pay particular attention to the Practice Changing Update section, which breaks down recent literature to its essentials and describes the clinical relevance of recent research that affects practice recommendations. Now, let's take a look at Dynamed. You can access Dynamed through the databases list or through their mobile app. But you can also search Dynamed directly from the library homepage. If you click on the tab up here that says Dynamed, make sure Dynamed is selected here. You can go in and search for a topic such as diabetes and see what comes up. You can see that in Dynamed, the articles are structured slightly differently. Here, there is a page for the condition that contains all clinical information from epidemiology to treatment, followed by articles on more specialized topics. In the article, you can see that Dynamed is structured similarly to UpToDate, with a left navigation sidebar for quick access information and a main content area with a breakdown of clinical information. UpToDate and Dynamed typically have the same kinds of information. They simply organize and display it in different ways. Dynamed also contains extra features like clinical calculators, drug information, and clinical practice updates. For most users, the choice between UpToDate and Dynamed will be a choice of personal preference. I recommend doing some searches on both to see which one you'd like to use more. That being said, Dynamed and UpToDate do have slightly different specialty coverages, which may affect your choice of tool depending on what field you work in. If we compare the list of specialties in each tool, you can see that Dynamed covers more nuanced subspecialties than UpToDate, so you may prefer Dynamed if you're working in a specialty that UpToDate doesn't cover as well. Note that UpToDate covers sports medicine specifically, while Dynamed does not. Essential Evidence Plus is another clinical point-of-care tool aimed at a wide audience of healthcare professionals, covering a wide variety of diseases and conditions. To find Essential Evidence Plus, click on Databases on the library homepage and search for it in the search bar. You can see that this tool is structured a little strangely, as it is technically an ebook accessed through StatRef, a nursing resource provided by the library. In practice, you can use Essential Evidence Plus similar to the other tools, by clicking on the drop-down by the search bar and selecting Current Title. If we search for diabetes now, it will search just Essential Evidence Plus for information on diabetes. Like the other tools, you'll have a left-hand navigation menu for quick access to clinical information, and a main content area giving you an overview of the disease and how to treat it. While the interface is not quite as nice as the other tools, Essential Evidence Plus is a trusted and vetted information source that is updated regularly. As you will have access to this tool after you graduate, you may want to familiarize yourself with it for long-term use. The last tool I'd like to talk about is a freely available online resource called the TRIP Medical Database. Unlike the other tools, this is an open access tool and not a library subscription. That means it is also a tool you can use after you graduate as a long-term option. TRIP is a little different from the other tools as it labels itself as a clinical search engine rather than a point-of-care tool. TRIP is a search engine that crawls open access content for high-level evidence, such as clinical guidelines and systematic reviews, although it also searches for clinically relevant primary evidence through sources such as PubMed. Let's search for diabetes, and you can see how it works. If you scroll down the list, you can see that the top results are all high-level, clinically oriented evidence, including practice guidelines in various countries, systematic reviews, and other evidence synopses. If you'd like to focus on a particular type of evidence or evidence from a specific location, you can narrow down your results on the left-hand menu. In addition to being free, one of the great things about TRIP is that it also searches for primary literature. This can be particularly helpful if you encounter a rare or understudied disease in your clinical work, which may not have available guidelines in the other point-of-care tools. TRIP can be a great way to identify lower-level evidence when higher-level evidence isn't available. This has been an overview of the variety of clinical tools that are available to you as students and will continue to be available to you into the future. If you have any questions about how to use these tools, please don't hesitate to reach out to your liaison librarian for help. Thank you.